Welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Convos. My name's Ashley, and this is my cousin, confidant, and co-host,
Reagan. And here we like to discuss things that are going on in the world.
And what's going on in our own lives.
Nothing is off the table here. So pull up a chair and join us for another Saturday night conversation. Hi there, guys. Welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Convos. We are so excited to be back with some interesting content this week, I think. Actually, this will be an interesting... I know I use the word interesting a lot, but this is one of those topics that it's a trend, but back in the 90s, this wasn't a trend.
No, I don't think it was. So
No.
I definitely feel like it's something that will kind of like make people think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I think so.
and that's definitely what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring some topics that not everybody thinks about.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome to our 4th episode, everybody.
Yay!
Yay! So what is our topic today, Reagan?
So today we are talking about older parents.
Yeah.
Let's define older parents first. So let's say like 30, I don't know, what do you want to say, like 35?
I would say over 35.
Over 35, yeah. So the reason this topic came up was in my psychology class. We had this discussion we had to do, and we were asked about, what is the age that, people just shouldn't be allowed to have kids? And I was really surprised because a lot of people said 35.
Wow.
And when you think about it, these days, right, people are waiting to have children until they are 30 or 35. And me being a product of older parents, I was like, 35 is actually pretty young. Like, my parents had me at 38, right? So anyway, so it just kind of sparked an interest, and I think it'll be a good topic to talk about this week.
Yeah. Well, I looked up the average age that a first-time mom, like the average age in Canada, the first-time mom has a child, and it's 28.1. And that statistic is from 2012. So my guess is that that's actually gone up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably closer to 30 now.
I would think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in the US, it's actually a little bit less. It's 26.4.
That's not a really big surprise, though.
No, I don't think it is either.
Yeah, no. Especially down south, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get married younger.
Yeah.
So that's not a surprise.
No, it isn't.
But I'm sorry. I shouldn't say married. Of course, you don't have to be married to have a baby. And if that's your preference, then great. But
it's all good.
Hey, anyways, so yeah, older parents. So I'll give a little bit of background on me and my experience with older parents. So my parents had me at 38. My siblings are 16 years older and 14 years older than me, respectively. So back in like I think my mom found out she was pregnant in like January or February of 1992. And they thought that they were like done, like they were out. They were like booking vacations on the beach in anticipation of my siblings moving out, and then they got me. But I like to say that I'm the best thing that ever happened. Anyway, so yeah, they had me at 38, and I don't know, it was, for me, I didn't really know any different. I kind of felt like an only child growing up. My siblings lived in the house, but of course, the sibling relationships are much different when you're that far apart in age.
Mm-hmm.
So in a lot of ways, I call my sister my third mom sometimes, because she parents me from time to time when I need it. But anyways, so yeah, I don't know. Growing up, I was always, people always thought that my sister was my mom. So that's probably where the third mom thing comes into. And my, multiple times, I've disappeared. There we go. Multiple times, I'm sure my mom was mistaken as my grandmother. right?
She went gray early, didn't she?
Yeah, she kept dyeing her hair.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it was I wouldn't say like having older parents was a bad thing. They were more stable, and definitely when it came to my education, my mom was my advocate. You know, learning disabilities are genetic, and my older two siblings had learning difficulties, so she knew kind of what to push for. Um, anyways, so that's me. Yeah, I wouldn't. It wasn't bad. It was good.
Did you see any differences between like yourself and your friends in terms of like their parents and your parents?
Yeah, so I would definitely say that my parents raised me much more old school
Okay.
than my friends. Just like I don't know, not like I didn't even have a cell phone until I was 17. Right? Like that's kind of the, like
I didn't get one till I was 18, so it's okay.
well, that's just the like the comparison though. Like all like my parents didn't like buy me everything, right? They disciplined me. Not to say that, you know, it's just a different style of parenting. My parents parented me like they did my older two siblings. Now there was some stuff that slid because of course the youngest, right? Whatever, they're kind of done. But I was grounded a lot. Spent a lot of time in my room. But yeah, there like discipline wise, like there was a difference there. And then like I would just say like my ability to like guess someone's age or like gauge that is very bad because growing up, my parents were always older than my friends' parents, right?
Yeah.
So it's I realize like some of my friends' parents, they're like 50 now. I'm like, my dad's almost 70, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. If he hears that, he'll be mad. He'll be 67 in February.
He's 65.
No, he's not. He's 66.
He was 65.
No, he was 65 last year.
Okay.
He'll be 67 in February.
Okay. Okay. I thought we were just talking and we said he was 65.
No. Anyways, so yeah. So from that standpoint too, like just kind of recognizing those differences can be tricky sometimes. I will say though that I definitely spent more time with them, right? Because most people who have siblings, most of my friends who had siblings, they would spend a lot of time with their siblings, right? Whereas I spent a lot of time with my mom, and that's time that I cherish now. But like especially in like high school when she changed jobs and she had more time off, we spent summers together, like, you know, and we just like walk down to the library or, you know, just go on like a road trip for the day or something. So yeah.
So as you aged, did you ever notice or experience like the generational gap? Like I know you talk about it now, especially with your dad, but like as you know, especially even in your teens, did you notice it more?
I would say if I go back to like, you know, my friends have like the newest like tech stuff or whatever, right? My parents didn't see value in that, right? I remember I wanted an iPod for Christmas one year, and I kept sending my mom like, you know, that you can go on the website and you can like send to a friend like all the information. I kept sending her that because I wanted an iPad or not an iPad, an iPod for Christmas. This was back when iPods were really big, and she's like, yeah, no. But there was a generational thing there, but at the same time, it was just normal for me, right? It was normal to have, you know, my mom was my mom and my dad was my dad, and that was just normal. Like you said, I've talked about kind of the generational gap now, and it's with him being retired, it's definitely more prevalent. Right. I don't know. It is.
Okay.
It's prevalent in, just like the things that we talk about, or
Mm-hmm.
he'll be like, what is Spotify, or what is I don't know, what is this thing on the computer? What does this do? Or, I don't he's so funny. Like, the generational gap is very big now, though. I can definitely tell that. And I think that's, I don't know. It just is, it's really, and I think, things have kind of advanced so far in society, with like terminology that people use, or things
Yes.
that people do, or as I said, technology. All of these different areas have advanced so far in the past,
Mm-hmm.
especially like 5 or 10 years,
Yeah.
that the the generational gap is very, very prevalent and obvious now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Again, I can kind of relate with you on some of that because I grew up in a very, very old school.
oh,
So
yeah.
if I had asked for like an iPod, my parents would have looked at me and said, "What the heck is that?" The MP3 player I got was a free one that we got from like some my dad just looked at it and went, "What is this? Here you go."
I didn't even have an MP3 player, honey. I stole my brother's MP3 player.
Well, there you go. You got one. Yeah. So
Oh my
yeah.
goodness, yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, I tell ya.
I actually think I still have that MP3 player.
Do you really?
I think I do.
That's so funny.
Solid times. Solid
That's so
times.
funny.
Well, I think you answered all my questions, but
Mhm.
it does make sense that like it's what you knew, it's all
Yeah.
you knew, but like the further that generational gap got and the more that society advances in terms of technology, like
Yeah.
there is that gap's going to continue to
Yeah. It
so
it will it will continue to grow.
you're just like, oh my.
There are so many things going through my head right now, but they're things that I shouldn't say on the internet. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
What I think we were like 17. I think that's what's coming to mind. And your dad had a smartphone
Oh my god.
and we went into Telus and he asked, do you want me to say this or not?
No, you can.
Okay. And he asked for a magic wand stick, which was like what's it called? Like
like a stylus pen or
a
something.
stylus pen.
Yeah.
And we were just like dying.
I still laugh over that. Oh my god. Oh my god.
And I'm just like, oh my goodness. But your dad is he's great.
He's one of a kind. He's one
Again,
of a
all
kind.
parents are.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh goodness.
My dad just figured out how to get to the internet like 5 years ago, so that was a big thing.
My dad freaks out anytime he gets like a strange call. He's like, it's from China. He's afraid the Chinese are gonna hack him. And now when I get calls for my work, it's an automated system.
Okay.
And he's like, who are you talking to? If it's China, you should hang up. Your cord is on your head.
Oh, it's down here.
Oh my god.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Whew. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and actually, so since the pandemic, my dad has been fully retired, and he has so much time on his hands now that all he does is worry about me. I am center
Loves you.
of everything, and I'm not gonna lie. After 10 years of him like being at work, it's difficult. So recently, he kept asking me where I was going to work because every day I go to work somewhere different.
Mm-hmm.
And I he always 200 plus days, Leslie, asks me where I'm going and who I'm talking to and what I'm doing. So I recently started just saying Port Stanley. And Port Stanley, if you don't know, southwestern Ontario is a beach that is really close to London, where I live. So I would just say Port Stanley because it was the first thing that popped in my head, and I didn't really feel like him, because he asked because he worries, right? He worries where I am, and he wants to know when I'm coming home and all of this. So for the past 3 weeks, whenever he's asked me where I'm going to work, it's been Port Stanley. And every day when I get home, he's like, "So how was your drive to Port Stanley?"
Reagan. Oh my gosh.
I'll probably cut this out. Yeah, I'm not. Today I was like at dinner. I was like, he's like, "Are you going to Port Stanley tomorrow?" I'm like, "No, no. Port Stanley's actually code for just going to work."
Did you tell him that?
I told him that.
What did he say?
He's like, "You've been bullshitting me." Like, yeah, well, I don't tell you everything.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Anyways, yes, there is definitely a generational divide, and now that Reagan is the only person left in the house, he worries about me all the time.
Get him a fish.
That's a good idea, actually.
I'm just saying.
You know what? I was doing Christmas shopping for him tonight before we hopped on, and I got him a belt and a wallet because everything that I get him, he never uses.
Yeah.
Last year I got him virtual golf. He never used it. I mean, there's a pandemic, but still. Anyways, I'm gonna get him a fish.
Get him something to take care of. That's not you.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
He's getting a fish because I hate guinea pigs. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't want a puppy. Thank you. Thank you for the idea, Ashley.
He needs, I don't know.
He needs an outlet.
He needs something to focus on.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think a dog would be too much, and I don't know how Athena would do with a dog.
Oh, she'd hate it. She'd hate it. I'd be like the worst mother. I would lose mother of the year 10 times over. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, that's a great idea, and I am going to do that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And be like, it's your fish. You have to clean it.
You have to feed it and talk to it and give it love. Oh my god.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Great
Good
idea.
times. You're welcome.
His Christmas shopping's officially done. Once I get that fish, it's over.
Done.
And it's only November 1st. Usually I don't have my Christmas shopping done until like December the 23rd. Now I know I won't get the fish until Christmas because it'll die. But
mark that off my list.
That's right.
I'm actually like, oh yeah, I just remembered like all of my family, but I'm actually doing pretty good with Liam.
Oh
my god. Actually, I got my sister something. But yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah. No, you know what? I wanted to get a pair of like tights, like exercise tights.
Yeah.
So I ordered them from Lululemon, and I saw this really cute coat.
Ooh.
So I ordered the coat, and I was like, well, if I don't like it, I'll just gift it to my sister for Christmas.
There you
and
go.
then that's how I ended up going to more websites and buying more things. Yeah. But I wonder if I could pre-order the fish.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I found an article, and this is filled. It's called 7 Surprising Benefits of Being an Older Parent. And I'm not gonna lie, some of these are actually pretty surprising, because as I said, when we think about older parents, we think of like generational gaps and having to care for your parent and all of this stuff. So there's a lot of like negative continuity, especially if you're from a family where you either had kids really young or your parents were really young when they had you. So anyway, 7 surprising benefits of being an older parent. So there was a study done in the UK, and it studied 15,000 sets of twins.
Okay.
It found that twins who had an older father were more likely to have a higher IQ and a stronger ability to focus on their interests.
Interesting.
So they're smarter than the average kid. Which, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm a bit smarter than my sibling. I'm definitely more analytical than my sister is. I think I am. I think I'm a little bit smarter.
No, I was just thinking about myself in comparison to my sibling. I would say I'm more analytical than my brother.
Yeah. Yes, but your brother's probably smarter than you.
I would say, you know what? I think right.
Yeah.
He's left-handed, so in terms of like in use of their brain, like, but yeah, I don't know. But hey, this works well for Liam because Liam has an older dad.
There you go. And
there we go.
If you end up having any more kids,
that one's gonna be smarter.
There you go. Okay. The second benefit to being an older parent. Your kids might live longer. So I'm just reading. So chromosomal, okay. So though for both genders of parents, advanced age carries an increased risk of the development of chromosomal abnormalities in utero, one 2012 Harvard University study shows a link between advanced parental age and chromosomes that lead to longer lifespans. So, you live longer.
That's what Reagan got out of that.
Well, with my genes, I probably won't live longer, but the average person...
I won't either, so, we'll live shorter together.
That sounds great. Okay, you're more emotionally prepared. According to Life Science, researchers conducted a small study that set out to establish an optimal age for parenting. Most respondents believed that being an older parent was more advantageous than being a younger parent, mostly because they were more emotionally prepared. So this looked at people in their 30s. Other advantages of being an older parent, the study found, was career success, financial security, stronger relationships.
I agree with all of that, in all honesty, especially...
And I think that's why people are waiting, right? People are waiting longer because they want to have career success and they want to be stable financially.
They want,
right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Speaking
the vacuum.
Of somebody that had a kid.
Sorry, the vacuum's on and it's beeping. Anyways, what were you going to say?
Speaking from somebody that had a kid, like I had my son when I was 23. I was right out of university. Do I regret it? 100% no. But has it had, like, it's, especially I have a kid that's immunocompromised. So if I wasn't a mom right now, I'd probably be working full time.
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Chisel. And he's so cute. He's so damn cute.
He is. I like how, like, I don't know, we were FaceTiming the other day and he was like, I don't remember what he said, but he was just like, it's so good to see you again. I was like, why are you not this polite the rest of the time? Where is this kid coming from?
He likes me better.
Apparently.
And my sister's puppy likes me better too. Okay. Okay, number 4. You're less likely to use it. You're less likely to lose it. A 2016 Danish study found that older mothers were more adept at setting boundaries with their kids and less likely to yell at them and harshly punish them, leading to fewer behavioral, social, and emotional difficulties down the road. I would definitely say that is true. My mother, she was firm with me, and she set the boundaries, but she never really yelled at me. Right? There were never those, like, big, like, explosions. It was more of, well, you did this, so you need to go to your room, or you did this and let's talk about why this wasn't appropriate. Right? So I would definitely say that is true. That is true.
Especially, right, that, like, the older you are, the more emotionally mature you are, so
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, you're more financially stable. We already talked about this one, but for moms both with and without college degrees, those who gave birth when they were younger than 25 suffered the most lifetime labor income loss, whereas women who started having kids after 31 experienced financial gains.
that's really interesting.
But
you know what? It does make sense, because if they had kids, or sorry, if they had their career established and then had kids, they were already at a certain point in their career.
Yeah.
So it does make sense.
Okay, last one. You'll be better equipped to access your parenting memories. So this one is kind of interesting. And sorry, I'm just reading. Okay, so it says, believe it or not, hormones can have an impact on your brain function. A 2016 University of Southern California study found that being an older mom can work in your favor when it comes to your mental state later in life. After examining a group of 800 women between the ages of 41 and 92, researchers discovered the women who had their last baby after 35 had better cognitive and verbal memory later in life than those who first became parents when they were young.
That's really...
Yeah, that one's interesting too. I would say my mom had a good memory in her 50s. But, you know, I wish she were still here to see if that were actually, you know, accurate. But
she did, though. She was a sharp cookie.
She was, indeed.
So why do you think, like, with all of that, why do you think there's the societal, like, stigmas around, right? Like, in your psychology class, I believe it was psychology.
Yeah.
Sociology. Why do you think people are saying, our society says, that you shouldn't be having kids after 35?
I think it's like I think from the point of, like, the psychology class, and albeit, let's take a look at the younger demographic, like the early people in their 20s, right? Or the, you know, whatever, teenagers who think it's weird that old people are parents. But there's that picture in your head of how your life is supposed to go, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to, you know, go to school, get married, and have kids.
Yeah.
And get a job, right? I mean, in my grade, I'm not even lying. In my grade, you know, in those, like, yearbooks in grade 8, they ask you where you'll be in 10 years.
Yeah.
I wasn't good at math. I had a learning disability. I was dumb as a brick back then. But on that question, where will you be in 10 years? I said, I will be married with kids and have a great job. I didn't do the math that, you know, from 13, you add 10 years and you get to 23.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's that, I think it's that picture in your head of, well, I'm going to have kids before I'm 25, or I'm going to have a kid before I'm like 28, right? Or
Yeah.
let's say 35. So I think it's definitely, and it's that like old school societal mentality, right? Like we like to think that we're so far advanced and we're so, you know, we're these grand thinkers, and we're these progressives. But truth be told, these societal like norms, they still exist,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we would be lying to ourselves if we didn't, you know, try to measure up to the societal norms. So I think that's where it comes, and that that's exactly where it comes from, is those societal norms that have been established since, you know, the beginning of time.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Like,
Yeah.
I have people that I went all the way through school with, like public and grade school, who, you know, have gotten married. Yeah. All of them have settled back down to where we live. And quite a few have just announced that they're like pregnant and expecting.
Really?
So, yeah.
Really? See, for me, okay, this is another like societal, I guess, like nurture versus nature, because for me, in like if I looked at like, let's say the people I went to high school with, most of those people I went all the way from kindergarten to grade 12 with.
Yeah.
Raised in the city. I honestly only know of a few that are married and one or two that have a kid. A few are engaged.
Okay.
But otherwise, people are just living their lives.
Yeah, I don't, you know what? I don't know of a whole, like, again, I just know of a few that are married, but
Yeah.
I know of like I just, the reason why I said it was because I just saw like one just had a baby.
Wow.
One just announced.
Yeah.
One's expecting,
Yeah.
like very heavily expecting.
Yeah.
And then I know others who have older kids. Like I have like a 5-year-old, so I like, you know, I got my master, I got my degree, had a son, like I've worked, you know, like I did things a little bit backwards, but you know, it all happened. But there's people that had kids right out of high school. So
you reproduce big down there, don't you?
and then there's other people who have a couple kids.
Really? Wow.
Like I know of some people that have 3.
Really? That's
I actually got asked once by somebody that I went to high school with.
Yeah.
I had my niece and my nephew with me, and my niece I think she was like 14 at this time, and I only had one child and he was 3 at this time. And she was like, "Oh my God, are all those kids yours?" I was like, "Hell no." Hell no. I have one and he is 3. That is more than enough. So right there, I think there's just a lot of
yeah. Wow.
I don't know, but yeah, people I know who I went to like public school and grade school with.
Yeah.
Or like grade school and high school with are having like I know quite a few who have gotten married. And are starting. You know.
I don't know. I'm but it's a cultural, right? Like, that's what you do down in the sticks, right?
Well, right, like quite a few live still in our hometown, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I know
And
some who.
Sorry.
I know some, right? Like, you know, get married, have.
Yeah.
But right, like most of them have good jobs, and it's just. Reagan's just like, what is this?
Oh my God. It's like a whole new world. Oh my goodness. Stigmas. Anyways, yeah. So no, it's definitely it's the cultural norms to whatever we were talking about. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is. It's really. I don't know.
I'm coming from the perspective that within my group of friends, none of them are married and none of them have children, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of that's common amongst the people that I right. So just hearing that, like, there's so many, right? Because like 28, and like you, again, this is like the normal age to like get married and have kids, but and maybe that's part of like my mindset too, right? How, right, being raised with older parents, it's normal to think about having kids at an older age.
And right? I've always, yes, and I agree with that because my mom had her first at 25, but she had a 10-year age, or there's a 10-year age gap between my oldest sibling and my youngest. But I had my son young, like, right? So I was 23. My best friend had her daughter at 25, but she's married. So that is a little bit different. I don't know. I just, maybe it is a rural thing, but or a rural trend.
Yeah. I don't know. It's, you know what? It's really common within like the Christian world too, and this is like a conversation that I have with one of my friends quite often because, you know, we're both Christian, we both go to church. The church that we attend though is very much catered towards older people and people who have children and families, and so there is like this unsaid expectation amongst the 20-something crowd that, you know, once you hit, you know, 20 whatever, you know, you if you have a relationship, well then boom, you're onto the altar.
Yes, exactly.
Right? So there is definitely like that expectation there, and I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the things that bothers me somewhat about the church, because I'm constantly seeing people who are younger than me now, you know, getting married or in these relationships, and it's like, well, what's right? And it's not that I have that longing right now, because I don't, because I'm too busy with my life and trying to figure out me. But there's just this, it's this cultural thing,
the cultural norm
in the evangelical world that, you know, you're 22, you should be married, right? And women especially in this church or in evangelical churches period, you know, if you're not married, then you're sometimes not really thought of as a quote unquote adult, right?
And we can look at Jana Duggar, right?
Yes.
There's been so much conversation about what's wrong with her, what's she doing with her life. And I've seen, like, there was an interview about, like, what's your dating life like? And to me, what's it society's business why she's single?
Absolutely.
She's 29.
She's 29 and she's raised all of her siblings, basically. Right?
Exactly. But in all honesty, like, I don't think, like, it's nobody else's business.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree.
In all honesty, she probably has needed however much time to just decompress from raising said siblings.
Yeah.
So
thinking on like that evangelical point on the Duggars are different because they're like fundamentalist evangelicals. So the girls, the way that they're raised, they're not raised to be self-sufficient, right? They barely have an education. And so they're raised to be a wife and to be a mother. And so, you know, when you look at, like, I think Joy Duggar got married at like 19. And she's 23 now with 2 kids. And she's doing that thing that she was trained up to be. But, you know, you look at Jana Duggar, she's really breaking the mold on not marrying, right? A lot of people see her as very submissive to Jim Bob, but she is definitely disobedient in that. Disobedient is not the right word, but going against the grain in that way. So
I just
some food for thought. But yeah, I couldn't be, you know, 19 and get married. Cool.
I also like some of the men that they're marrying, like,
oh my God. Yeah, they're not the best. They're not the best quality.
like maybe she's just waiting for the right one to come along, which let's be honest, like, and I've watched some of the things that Jill Duggar has posted, or Jill Dillard.
Yeah.
She seems like she's in a decent place.
She's come really far.
Exactly.
She has basically, she's cut ties with the IBLP, which is the fundamentalist group that the Duggars were a part of.
Yeah.
And she's definitely exploring the world for herself.
Yes.
So yeah, no, she's come very, very far. Very, very far. So
yes.
And the funny
and
thing,
like her.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say the funny thing is that when she got married, they were supposed to be like the golden couple, doing like the missionary work and stuff, right? And expanding like the Duggars ministry, let's call it.
Yeah.
But Derek is, you know, a normal Southern Baptist who, you know, went to public school and, you know, went to public university and, you know, has life experience. And so I think that's Mr. Jim Bob Duggar, he wasn't expecting, right? Right? But it's just really interesting how they were thought, you know, they were this like, they were going to do this, but they taken that U-turn and kind of carve their own path, right? So,
and also speaking about being raised by older parents, like they're both older parents, like Jim Bob and whatever her name is, Michelle.
Yeah,
like that would be a very interesting raising. So yeah.
Well, Chisel.
For Sizzle. So I think there's definitely pros and cons to being raised like by younger parents and then also by being raised by older parents.
Yeah.
Do you have any? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and you know, no matter, I don't think a lot of like younger parents set out, you know, they don't set out with the mind, the thought of mind. It's Sunday. It's time change. I'm tired. But the younger parents in general, a younger family, they don't set out and, you know, think in, you know, let's say 5 years we're going to have 3 kids, and then in another 10 or 15 years, oopsies, surprise, right? And so I think, you know, there's a portion of society that, you know, opts to be older parents and, you know, chase their careers and whatnot, and that's great. But there's also this portion of society that just kind of falls into it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think there's something to be said for that, because I mean, if, you know, my parents, you know, if my father, you know, had gotten things taken care of and, you know, they may have, you know, used some sort of birth control, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Right? So I think I always come with this mindset nowadays. It's come over time, but I always think I'm not supposed to be here. Right? I'm not supposed to be here. I was an oops. I'm not supposed to be here. And I'm not supposed to be, right? And I don't say that as a bad thing. I say that it's like a really neat thing. Because like I am here and I'm having these experiences, and I have brought, like I said at the beginning, I like to say I'm the best thing that ever happened to my family. Right? And
Yeah.
so I've brought all of these, and that's not me just being like, whatever, like high and mighty on myself, but I've brought these like experiences and points of view to my family that they may not have had
If you weren't here.
if I wasn't here, an oops of like January 1992 in a South Florida hotel room. Yes. Not even joking. I found a journal of my mom's a few months ago, and it was she would journal about like their trips. So they took this trip to Florida in January 1992, and she journaled about it. And she journaled, she wrote down the exact room number of the hotel that they stayed in, which apparently still exists. And she also road trip. And she wrote down the activities of the day. And on like one of the last days, she wrote the kids went to bed early. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out. TMI, I know. But at the same time.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
TMI. But yeah,
but
I did hear that, they came back from Florida and they came back with a little bit more than they went with.
But anyways, my point is that some of those oops is that a lot. I would probably say more than half of society falls into it. Well, maybe not quite more than half nowadays, but half of society, let's say, falls into, can easily end up being some of the best things in life.
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Some of the best things. So yeah.
Right.
There you go. Yep. I don't have anything more to say about it.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know. I know, story of my life. Anyway. I think, do you have anything else to add, Ashley?
I don't. Thank you everybody for joining us for our 4th episode about
No! Stop! No! No,
it is the
5th.
4th.
This is the 4th, but this is going to be the 5th.
Okay. 5th episode, because we will block that out. Our 5th episode of Saturday Night Convos of our 2nd season, which will be dropping on November 7th.
No. Ashley, what is next week?
The 7th.
No!
6th.
No! What is next week? What is the event?
6th.
No!
Oh the 5th.
What is next week?
7th. I got it right. It's the 7th. It's the 7th.
People. This episode will be dropping on November the 14th because the American election's coming up. And we're doing a whole episode dedicated to it! I'm so excited!
Oh my god.
And if it's November the 14th and you haven't listened to the previous episode, you should go back and check it out because some really exciting stuff is going to happen.
Episode to listen to. Okay, so this episode is dropping on November 14th. We should also not podcast on the same day as time change. Or the day after. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay. So people, this is dropping on, you're already listening to it, so I don't know why I'm telling you when it's dropping.
Okay, guys, thanks for listening to another episode of Saturday Night Convos. You can find us on every major podcasting
platform.
Oh my god. You can also follow us on Instagram at Saturday Night Convos and Twitter at Night Convos.
No, at Convos Night, Ashley.
At Convos Night.
And Ashley's going to get a lot better with updating that once I give her the login information.
There you go. That's the key on that one. Okay, guys. Have a great night.
Bye.